Hello everybody, welcome to another video reaction. Today we're checking out what Foxy was really trying to say in Ruin ending. So if you don't know the ending of Ruin, in the credits, like Roxy goes Cassie. So supposedly Roxy found Cassie when she when she dropped through the elevator from the end of the game, sort of like plummeted into the pits of the sinkhole after being chased by the mimic. So yeah, let's see what the theory is, because I know there's been a bit of gameplay gameplay leak of the new FNAF game, but I'm not going to talk. I'm trying not to like react to leak shit anymore, even though it's very, very tempting. But yeah, let's check this out. As you get the video down in the description below, let's check this out.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Charlie.
So sorry.
Hey, Charlie.
We all know what happens at the end of Ruin. Our beloved Roxy turns up to our rescue to save us from the evil mimic. And as we...
That's what I don't understand, though, is that Roxy came back to life after we decommissioned her. Like, how did she turn back on? In all seriousness, how did Roxy turn back on? That's always bugged me when I played Ruins. Like, how did Roxy virtually turn back on? And it's bugged me. It's bugged me for the longest time, to be honest. But hey, Roxy's actually. I didn't like Roxy in the original game, but Roxy was really. I really got turned around with Roxy in the Ruin. I feel like people shit on Ruin too, but I feel like Ruin was actually very, very good. I thought it was better than the main game, to be honest.
Make our escape, we leave Roxy to fight the mimic. Now, because we literally leave Roxy, there is, I don't know what actually happens to it, but that is where you're wrong, because I've isolated the sounds during our escape, and we can actually hear Roxy and the mimic talking. And believe you me, some of the voice lines blew my mind, because it completely changes the ending and what we thought we knew about Ruin. And before Roxy even comes to our rescue,
the mimic and Roxy had a conversation.
We know she was deactivated and stuck under a forklift. But if we look at the environment around her, that'll tell us the complete story we need. We can clearly see a recharge station destroyed. We see a massive blue shipping crate, and the way the forklift is positioned tells us only one thing would have happened, or so we think. Looking at the crate, it clearly looks like it's falling from somewhere, and either the forklift has come out of that blue crate because the doors are open, fallen on Roxy, or the forklift was driven into her. And let's not forget, Roxy is missing her eyes. She could have easily hit something, dislodged the shipping crate from above, it slides, hits the ground in an awkward angle, doors open, forklift comes out, lands on top of Roxy.
That would make sense.
Clearly tells us that, but what it doesn't tell us is how Roxy seemingly reactivates and then has the power to remove this forklift off the top.
That is true. That's actually true. Like, she was in a no-win-win scenario here. There was literally a no-win scenario. Why? Because she's stuck underneath a forklift. She can't see, and like she got deactivated. Well, this shit don't make no sense. How she saved us? How did she even get herself down? Somebody guided her down the somebody must have guided her down. It had to be. Someone would have firstly had to guide her down. Like, only other animatronic is Chica. Well, Chica has eyes. You know, there's like, let's be honest, Monty got fried. So it had to be Chica. It had to be Chica.
Top of her. And I haven't even got into the secret dialogue with the mimic yet. Now, to me, we don't see animatronics reactivate after they've been deactivated. Look at Glamrock Bonnie, for example. He was completely deactivated. We don't see him just miraculously come back to life and reactivate himself. So that
he did his doornails.
We know she isn't out of power. That isn't an issue. But how would she have turned herself back on? Well, some people might be thinking, well, it was simple. She just completely rebooted herself. Well, that doesn't make sense because we completely deactivated her. And it's not as if we remotely did it. I mean, we physically was was there deactivating her with a wrench.
Yeah.
It wasn't done via Wi-Fi or by remote. We were physically there.
Yeah, so
The only way she was going to turn back on is if someone or something was there and physically activated her. And not only that, there's something else we're completely forgetting. She couldn't remove the forklift on her own when she was there. She was struggling. There was no way she was lifting that off. We see
that's true.
So how was she then able to do it after she seemingly rebooted herself? There's only two possible explanations here. One is that Roxy seemingly becomes possessed. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on who the soul is or how that's even possible, because I did it in this video.
I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know about that one. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. That doesn't make a lot of sense for something all of a sudden somebody's sister just so she can get. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm gonna be a buck. I don't see that happening. I feel like that makes the least sense to me. I mean, thinking about it, well, also with Chica, if Chica helped her. Chica had no arms, so even though Chica had no arms, so like Chica couldn't even like pull the forklift off her. Yeah, it is. I don't. Yeah, it's a strange one. All I think is maybe like someone the other animatronics like Music Man or like the GJG Music Man maybe. Like he's the only animatronic that's we see Music Man and frickin' FNAF and Screwbridge 2 and Help Wanted 2. He's broken, but he's still got arms and legs and everything. It probably makes sense for maybe Music Man because we don't see Music Man at all in Ruin. I mean, maybe Music Man, but I think I push X the doubt, to be honest.
Hugh. But in a nutshell, that would then give her the strength, the ability to reboot, and the ability to potentially remove that forklift. And not to mention then go on and do battle with Mimic. And I know you might be thinking, well, whose soul's inside of it? Well, I don't want to spoil that. I would recommend checking out my other video after this. It has to be the soul to reboot her and then give her the strength to remove the forklift. Or there is another option. She had help. If a soul was inside of her, it would definitely be able to reboot her, no problem. Because it's there physically in a sense. But if another person or another entity or animatronic was also there, they could also reboot her and help remove the forklift.
That makes sense.
We know that would be in the Pizzaplex and be able to help Roxy, or even want to help Roxy. It also ties into another theory I have, such as who is Gregory's friend in Ruin? Because if you remember, at the end of Ruin, Gregory actually says, and then literally says, just follow static direction or instruction.
Just follow instruction.
And if you slow the static down, you can clearly.
But wouldn't the friend be Vanessa? If we're going on by the Princess Quest minigame ending, I would assume it would have been Vanessa. But then again, there's no. It hasn't been like 100% confirmed that Vanessa is actually helping us, because especially the ending of Hub Wanted 2, Vanessa still seemed like a super bad guy. Like, she's definitely got her conscience back, but I feel like I think it was maybe Cassie's dad. I think it's because Cassie's dad was technically in the other ending of Hub Wanted 2 was the staff bot that gave her the mask. So maybe Cassie's dad. Maybe the thing is Cassie's dad is not really an animatronic. More like it's very complicated. I mean, FNAF is always fucking complicated. Let's be honest. But I want to be honest. I just don't think Vanessa. I just feel like Vanessa hasn't been no name drop with Vanessa, so I feel like Vanessa may be not a good guy, especially with the Help Wanted. I feel like Vanny / Vanessa is not a good guy, not confirmed to be a good guy. Well, turned good, still bad guy.
We hear a S at the end of the static, which would either mean follow his direction or follow Mike's direction.
Yeah.
No, I know. I just said Mike, and I did a huge theory on that last week. So Mike could still be in the Pizzaplex, and it could still be Freddy. So they would potentially be one of the options in helping remove the forklift off of Roxy. Either that or the Spirit. And here's the really interesting
I don't know about that one, Chief.
After she would have been rebooted,
I've
forklift removed, she seemingly then follows Cassie and rescues her. Why would she be doing that? What's her goal? Unless she was driven by either A, the Spirit, or told by Gregory's friend to go and help her. Either way, this is a part where things start to get extremely interesting because we
thinking about it, we know only person the way that his theory worked, it would have to be Cassie's dad, because Cassie's dad in the other ending of Hell Warner 2 became a staff bot that gave Cassie the mask. So what's stopping Cassie's dad from somehow like possessing Roxy to tell him where to go? That would make more sense, to be honest. That would make more sense, being Cassie's dad. Well, let's be honest. I mean, it's not confirmed Cassie's dad, but let's be honest. It showed the body. It showed the body mask. So I mean, and supposedly Cassie's favorite animatronic was Cassie's dad's favorite animatronic was Bonnie. So it makes sense. There's also, I mean, another related option, let's moving on from, like, if you guys played Into the Pit, this is completely different from what I'm talking about, this topic. If you play, I think there's a secret thing where a Freddy mask drops out of the attic, but then there's people saying, theorizing that Oswald, the main protagonist from Into the Pit's dad, is also the Freddy was the Freddy bully from the bite scene. So Cassie's dad was Bonnie. Oswald's dad was the Freddy bully. I mean that's that could be a bit of a stretch, but the thing is, it makes no sense why that mask is there about them hinting something. And plus, his dad's a very good engineer, and Cassie's dad's an engineer, and it's just like sort of engineer. So it sort of kind of lines up. I know. Well, it's very hard to say.
Obviously, Roxy confront the Mimic and save Cassie. As Roxy fights the Mimic, we make our escape. When Gregory starts talking to us, we start talking to Gregory. So it's extremely difficult to actually hear what's going on. But believe it or not, there is actually dialogue between Roxy and the Mimic. And this blew my mind.
Okay.
Now, the process of isolating voice alone is extremely hard. So a massive thanks to TN Was on Twitter for this.
Okay. Let's turn the volume up.
The process of isolating voice alone is extremely hard. So a massive thanks to TN Was on Twitter for this. To me, this is absolutely huge, and I'm sure you've picked it up as well. Throughout that, we hear the Mimic actually starting to mimic Roxy. Now, at around 7 seconds in, we hear "Still Too Weak, huh?" To me, that sounds like Roxy. But then at 21 seconds in, we hear what presumably sounds like Roxy say, "Give up." That's her original voice line and sounds exactly like her. But then at 26 seconds in, we hear "Give up" again. And that to me is clearly the Mimic. The Mimic starts literally mimicking.
Ooh. Okay. That's interesting. That is very cool. I didn't realize there was dialogue between the fight between the Mimic and Roxy. Very, very cool.
In Roxy, the Mimic then says, "You can't win." It's clearly the Mimic's voice. And this is a really interesting part, because towards the end we hear Roxy roar, then gasp, with a huge loud thud. The fighting then stops. We then hear Roxy.
I wonder if the mixer system is actually Cassie's dad. I wonder if the mixers is actually, now thinking about what I wonder if the actual mixer system is actually Roxy's Cassie's dad. That would actually make a lot of sense, because maybe maybe that's the hint that the mexes. That would make sense why the mexes, how Roxy gets down there, because the mex system is literally in the AR world, so it makes sense that the mex is not, doesn't attack her. Cassie is mainly just trying to get her away. When she's trying to stop her from like opening it up. I think that would actually make a lot of sense, actually, if Cassie's dad was the mex system. So the ghost rabbit from the ruin. That actually would make a lot of sense, actually.
Time say I in a really laboured voice, and then, believe it or not, actually say Cassie. Now, upon first hearing this, I immediately thought she said I lost, but playing it back with my headphones on and listening carefully, she actually says I, then Cassie.
And it isn't Roxy who's saying Cassie, it's the mimic.
He's mimicking her voice again. If you listen carefully, you can hear it. And further to this, just after we hear her gasp, we hear the sound of like rubble falling and all small rock bounces. To me, that indicates that part of the room they were in or cave collapsed, isolating Roxy in whichever place she is. And further to this, the last word we hear out of all of that dialogue is Cassie. And the first word we hear after the DLC ending, where Cassie in the elevator, is presumably Roxy's voice saying Cassie. To me, that's more than a coincidence. We literally hear the mimic practicing saying Cassie, and then a few minutes later, we hear Roxy saying Cassie. Now, looking further into the ending scene, we actually see Mimic pick up Roxy by the head. Roxy is completely battered as is. I mean, she just had a forklift truck on top of her.
Yeah.
She's damaged. She hasn't got lots and lots of strength like Monty. Roxy is more built for speed. So there's a chance that she was heavily damaged, potentially on the point of being completely destroyed when the cave-in occurred. Meaning she could still be alive, literally buried on the other side of the Mimic. This would then explain why the Mimic stops fighting Roxy and proceeds to chase the protag Cassie to the elevator. Plus, its main directive is to escape. It wants to use that elevator, and the elevator itself uses a Faz wrench. The only person who has a Faz wrench is Cassie. If Cassie escapes, it'll be stuck down there and unable to leave. So its main directive wouldn't be to outright kill Roxy, it'd be to incapacitate her and move on to catching his main objective, Cassie. So I'm sorry to say it, that Cassie at the end of Ruin in the elevator is actually the Mimic. And even
that would make a lot more sense. Especially the next game being the secret of the Mimic.
That the Mimic does mimic Roxy, meaning it wasn't Roxy who was calling out to Cassie, it was actually
the Mimic.
Or there is one possible explanation and theory which could cover all of this. Let us think for a second. We now have 2 elevators down to an abandoned pizzeria, where Freddy, in the original security breach, says there's only 1 elevator down. So the fact we see a second elevator seemingly going back up just doesn't seem to make any sense, unless this was a previous elevator taking you down to sister location. And what if that elevator, when it actually crashes down, doesn't crash back down to the original floor? If that crashes down further into the sister location bunker. I mean, the rubble we hear falling.
I mean, there's heavy rumors that the sister location thing is also like built on like it's actually below even below. I feel like the previous locations all stacked on top of each other for some reason in the sinkhole. I mean, I don't know how fact that is, but again, there hasn't been. I don't think it's been 100% confirmed, but like, I mean, I think it was heavily implied in how 1 and 2 that sister location is a massive part in that game. So it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
Be Roxy falling through the floor. A sinkhole opens up, but unfortunately there's not much evidence for that. That is just a theory. But further to this, them isolated voice lines definitely change how I view the ending of Ruin. What do you think the Ruin DLC meant? And who helped Roxy reboot and remove the forklift? Was it a spirit, or was it some other entity, another animatronic, or Gregory's friend? I highly recommend.
I think it's the Mexus helped. The Mexus helped her.
I haven't covered in this video. Believe it or not, I've uncovered some pretty shocking evidence. I'm Twisty from Twisted Animatronic. Stay safe out there, superstar.
That was a good video. Good video. As I said, I always. there's a lot of things in this video I didn't agree with, but there's a lot of things that actually got me thinking as well. As I love these theory videos. I really like these theory videos because it gives me like an idea on like stuff I want to react. Like especially with FNAF stuff, is like let's be honest, getting Matt Pat. Poor old Matt Pat. He's retired and he's still talking about he still talks about FNAF on freaking GT Live. Poor guy. But very good video. Go give Twisted Animatronics some love. I'll link the video down in the description below. Tell me what you think of the whole. What do you think? Who helped Roxy? I honestly think it could be the Mexus. It makes a lot of sense. Mexus / I think Mexus is literally Cassie's dad. But that's just my theory, a game theory. Thanks for watching.
Don't come to my house or else I'll suck your dick. Blood. I'll suck your blood. Ah, shit.